ॐ निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमिड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः. Namaste and welcome to our sessions on guided meditation for beginners and students. Today, we will be discussing on the spiritual meaning and significance of Pranava or Om. This mantra Om has been exalted throughout the Vedas and the Upanishads, and in every religious tradition in India, it is considered to be the most sacred syllable or the sound form of the Supreme Being. It is used in the mantras that is given by the spiritual teachers for us to do our spiritual discipline of japa, the repetition of the mantras. Most mantras start with this Om. So what is this Om? What is so sacred about it? How we can understand something about it, and how we can utilize this mantra in our daily sadhana, our spiritual disciplines, for the purpose of healing ourselves or connecting ourselves to the Supreme Being and arriving at that state of illumination, realization of ourselves as a spiritual being, as the Atman, one with the universal consciousness called Brahman. How do we form this identification or this oneness or this identity with the supreme reality? So let us see what Sri Ramakrishna has said about this mantra Om, and then we will discuss the powers of the mantra Om. So I'll take you through the meaning and the significance of the mantra Om. Sri Ramakrishna says, this eternal word, Anahata Shabda. Anahata means that goes on resounding within us without anyone creating that sound, self-created within us. Normally when we create a sound, then it's articulated by our voice, or we strike something like a gong and the sound is generated. But this sound, Om, doesn't have any source that creates it. It just automatically resonates deep within ourselves. So this is an eternal sound, not that's created for a moment and disappears. It's eternal, it's constantly going within itself, and is ever present both within and without, subjectively and objectively. That means in the microcosm and the macrocosm, this sound Om is constantly going on. We do not hear it because our physical senses are tuned to function through the sense organs of ears and various other sense organs, and this is at a very gross level. So the subtle powers have to be experienced when the subtle mind is open. One attains the absolute by going beyond the universe and its created beings conjured up by Maya. Maya means relativity. So the goal is to experience this absolute consciousness, which is beyond this relative world. By passing beyond nada, one goes into samadhi. Samadhi is a state where the microcosm, the individual mind, merges into the cosmic consciousness. And it passes through the state where one hears this sound Om constantly reverberating from within and outside. By repeating Om, one goes beyond nada and attains samadhi. So here is some idea is given what one can achieve by the repetition of the mantra Om. One goes beyond, one hears that sound constantly going within us, And then one goes beyond that sound and merges oneself into the cosmic reality. Sri Ramakrishna says, the sound Om is Brahman. Brahman is the supreme, pure, infinite consciousness. The rishis and the sages practiced austerity to realize that sound Brahman, Shabda Brahman. They would retreat themselves into the forest, cut themselves away from all the noise and clutter of this world, and contemplate and repeat and focus and meditate on the Om. And thus, they would attain perfection. After attaining perfection, one hears the sound of the eternal word arising spontaneously from the navel upwards. We don't hear that because that subtle perception is not awakened in us. By repetition of the Om itself, that faculty opens up. And then that faculty is able to experience, hear that particular sound. So, Om is the supreme Brahman, and the rishis and sages practiced austerity. So, should we practice spiritual disciplines to realize this Brahman? After attaining perfection, one hears the sound of this eternal word arising spontaneously from the navel upwards. What will you gain, some sages ask, by merely hearing about this sound? You hear the roar of the ocean from a distance. By following the roar, you can reach the ocean. As long as there is the roar, there must be an ocean. By following the trail of Om, you attain Brahman, or the supreme consciousness, of which the word is the symbol. That Brahman has been described in the Vedas as the ultimate goal, Param Dham. But such vision is not possible as long as one is conscious of the ego. The ego has to merge into that ocean. A man realizes Brahman, or the supreme consciousness, only when he feels neither I nor you, neither one or many. In other words, everything has become merged into one. Sri Ramakrishna says, some people have heard about milk, some people have drank milk, and some people have digested that milk and feel the energy that comes out of the drinking. Likewise, some people have heard about God, some people have seen God in some vision, some people have become very closely acquainted with God to have a conversation with Him, just like you and I do. So, the goal of spiritual realization is not to just acknowledge that there's a divine being out there or we are spiritual beings. We want to have that actual experience, that particular realization. So the scriptures give you a conceptual idea of what it is there. Then we translate those ideas into action. That is called sadhana, or spiritual disciplines. As we practice them, this body and mind themselves become very pure. And with the help of that pure mind and pure intelligence, one really experiences the thing. Just like you can hear about honey, but if you put some honey on your tongue, you really get a taste of it. You might not be able to explain it what it is, but the taste, that experience is far superior to any amount of words that we can use to describe it. So conceptual knowledge is about some description only. Experiential knowledge is about that personal feeling of coming in touch with it and knowing it at a deeper level, not through some concepts and ideas and explanations only. So the supreme reality called God, or the supreme being, is in existence out there. We hear about them from the scriptures. And the scriptures are the teachings of those who themselves had experienced it. Now they're trying to use the human language and mythology and stories and various ways to communicate to us. The purpose is to stimulate in us the desire to have that experience ourselves, not to be just happy with some understanding there, but the desire to have that experience. And then you say, what do? I'm so interested to have this experience. If I'm a spiritual being, why am I only confined to my understanding of myself as a physical being? If I'm so wonderful and great, why am attached to this body which is going to become old and then decompose and die one day? So I want to have that experience. When a person in whom this type of awakening or desire comes up, he reaches out to a spiritual teacher or some tradition and says, can you please show me the way? And the sages say, Upanishads say, well, repetition of this mantra Om itself is the means. That is the destination as well as the means, because it's a living energy inside us. And when we repeat that with great concentration of mind and visualizing that energy inside us, we resonate with that energy. And when we resonate with something, the energy from that source begins to get transferred into us. And that itself has got a healing and illuminating power. And then the same mind which is stuck down at a very gross level, which functions through the five sense organs, is elevated to another level, and the subtle perceptions begin to open up, and suddenly the world becomes transformed. The names and forms tend to disappear. Everything begins to feel illumined and luminous in there, both outside and within. And as you go deeper and deeper yourself, then all forms of materiality, names and forms, ideas, and everything is all left down at a very low level. The mind rises and merges into that ocean of consciousness. And then you understand you are the Om itself. We are that consciousness of the nature of infinite knowledge, infinite beauty, purity, goodness, holiness, and all those wonderful things that we are thinking God is out there. We are one with the divine being. That is the purifying, uplifting power of this Om. So he explains in this way. Then devotee asks, what is anahata sound, unstruck sound? Sri Ramakrishna says, it is a spontaneous sound. So spontaneous means constantly it's going, okay, naturally. It's not created by somebody outside. Constantly going on by itself. So when the mind becomes very pure, here this cycle constantly resonating there within us. It is the sound of Pranava or Om. It originates in the supreme Brahman or the supreme consciousness. Brahman is in that infinite consciousness that's a substratum of this whole universe, including ourselves. So this sound actually originates from there at the depth of that being. It comes down into us, and it has become materialized into a gross form. The whole world has evolved out of that. Initially it is pure consciousness, then it becomes a very causal pure intelligence, then it becomes a cosmic mind, then it becomes the cosmic universe. And a subjective level, we are that Atman or the cosmic consciousness or individual consciousness. Then that consciousness puts upon itself a body which is of pure intelligence, so buddhi. It puts another layer on side, a layer of which is called the subtle layer of the mind. Then it puts on the gross body, and we are stuck at this gross body level, and we are just, that consciousness is peeping out through the eyes and ears, is interacting with the world. So really we are trapped into this type of thing. How do we free ourselves? By returning in the reverse process. So the energy that has descended down into our being now has to be awakened and uplifted up. And that sound originates from the navel up to the heart, at the throat level, in the mouth, and it goes higher and higher. Here it's more from a gross to subtle type of idea is there. So this is how Sri Ramakrishna explains. It's a spontaneous sound constantly going on by itself. It's the sound of Pranava, Om. It originates in the Supreme Brahman and is heard by the yogis. And a yogi alone knows that this sound originates from both his navel upwards and from the Supreme Brahman in the ocean of pure consciousness. Now let us look at this Om detail. What are the powers? So it's only a sound, it's actually an energy, because the sound that we hear is an energy. Somebody says something, you vibrate the sound, that the air that's in front of you, that vibration is transmitted across the air, it hits the eardrums, and it goes into your mind, and there it creates an idea and a sound, and you hear that. But really that energy was transmitted, which you interpreted as a sound. So really, fundamentally, it's an energy. That's at the gross level. It's also a very subtle energy that has come down to this gross level. So let us trace it back. What are the powers or the Shaktis of this? Shakti means the energy, the power of the Om. So there are 12 levels of it. Coming from top to bottom, there are some technical names and descriptions. And what is the subtlety level? Subtlety level means how refined it is. So at the highest level, it is very, very fine, like a very high frequency. But as it comes down, it becomes grosser and grosser and grosser. So some indication in the chart there in the third column is given what's the level of the subtlety of that energy. Okay, we'll talk about that. So coming down, I put it in a reverse order. The highest level is called Unmana. Then it is called Samana. It's called Vyapani. These are technical Sanskrit names. Then it's called Shakti, Nadanta, Nada, Nirodhani, Ardhachandra, Bindu, Ma, U, A. So really it starts from the bottom. Let's go upwards then. So the first level is sound A. When the mouth is open, A. It is starting at the navel. There's a chakra there. It's called Swadhisthana. That is where the energy is radiating out. A chakra means a wheel that is transmitting out energy. Okay, it's radiating, pulsating out and resounding. When it rises to the heart level, it has become U. So the mouth was open, now it is partly closed, the sound is coming out. When it is mouth is totally closed, it has become A, U, from the navel to the heart to the mouth level. This is what we can hear, Om sound. So when you combine A, U, it has become Om, Om. Then the sound that was there, which was we were hearing, that energy becomes even more intense, more refined, more subtler, and it becomes concentrated in another form of energy, which is called light. Light is also energy. Okay, so this bindu means a dot. Normally, when we write Om, you will see that it's written something like a shape like this, if I might say. It is written so that dot there is the bindu. The crescent shape is called Ardha Chandra, means half moon. Okay, so you can see half moon, and there is A, O, M are the three parts is Om. There you go. So this is a concentrated form of energy which is experienced as a point of intense light, not intense, in between the eyebrows. So it's coming from the navel, through the heart, into the mouth, and then it forms right in between the eyebrows. And sometimes you can see some light there. It might, when you close your eyes and focus, you'll see some visual light, but hasn't become very, very intense at a point. When you experience it, it will become like a sharp point of light. When that Om goes to the next level, it comes in between at the forehead. So like that, okay, in the form of a half moon in there. So the frequency or the subtlety level doubles up there. It's twice as subtle as the one at level 4, which is Bindu. Then it goes to the next level where it becomes a straight line. So this is straight line, okay? And that is at the forehead level, up here. So the energy becomes higher and higher, finer and finer. Then it goes even finer than that. At the next level is called Nada. Nada is experienced at the summit of the head. And it expands through the Sushumna. Sushumna is that spinal cord. Around the Sushumna, there are this efferent and efferent, the active and the reactive nerves are there. But inside the spinal cord is a very fine hollow canal. That is called the Sushumna. And the energy actually flows through that. In a spiritual, through spiritual sadhana, that particular channel is opened up. When that opens up, the energy begins to flow through that channel. So it's a mystical resonance that is present in all beings potentially. It's not experienced, but through sadhana, the yogi awakens that power. And when that is awakened, then one hears that sound constantly going. Now that is an energy. It's a healing, soothing energy where it integrates everything beautifully into one whole holistic thing. That which has become fragmented and separated and disconnected from our deeper source and within ourselves, that begin to gel together. And you'll feel a wonderful, calming, soothing, uplifting, pacifying, serene type of feeling developing within yourself, like you feel yourself totally, not fragmented into parts or something like that. When this sound nada goes to the next level, it's called nadanta. Anta means the end of nada. So after that, no more hearing of sound becomes, because it has become so fine that it's not experienced as sound anymore. And that is experienced at the top of the head, right up here. Okay, let's go. That particular part of the head, body is called Brahmarandhara. Brahmarandhara. So then thereafter it becomes even purer and more subtler than that, and it is called Shakti, pure energy. And that energy is at very, very subtle level. We say it's twice the high frequency subtlety of the earlier one. So subtlety means it becomes finer and finer and finer. And it resides in the skin. It's the energy in itself. It has not become manifested in anything. What it contains in itself, the totality of it. And there's a feeling of supreme bliss or ananda in that time. You just feel you are that being in totality without any feeling of suffering and misery and all that. Thereafter, it keeps on going. And when it goes to the next level, it's called Vyapani. Vyapani means that which is all pervading. So it's an all pervading energy that fills the cosmos. So here we were experiencing it something in our own body, at a particular part of the body. And as it goes to this Vyapani level, it has transcended this whole body experience and is beginning to integrate itself with the cosmic energy. The microcosm is now beginning to feel its connection with the macrocosm. And that experience is, so in Hinduism, you'll see young brahmacharis and spiritual seekers will shave their head, but they have a tuft of hair on the top of the head. That's called the shikha. Okay, it's like a little bit of antenna there. At the base of that shikha, that is where you will feel that particular energy pulsating. That means it's denoting that there is something beyond even the body, outside it, and that energy is encapsulating the body, and this whole being is really a grossified form of that energy, materialized form of that energy. When it goes to the next level, it's called samana. Samana means that which has become one, identified with totality. It's the energy of illumination. When that happens, the mind becomes so purified that it becomes totally luminous. It reveals everything. It's not some ideas and thoughts and concepts and ideas. It is the illuminator of thoughts now. And by its light, everything is experienced within and outside. In that time, there is no conception of time and space. Everything has become into one. All past, present has merged into now. All space has become into a here. It's like the singularity. In that one spot, everything is totality is contained, so to say. And there is no objectivity. That means I am it. There's nothing outside me. I have expanded myself to that extreme limits where the whole universe has become part of me. So that vastness, that feeling that I'm that infinite being in which these various universes and solar systems and galaxies are just like specks of dust in me. That is the magnitude of the grandeur of my being. There is no objectivity. I am that pure consciousness. And there's a stage higher than that. At this stage, you feel you are a luminous being, but there's an even higher state which is called unmana, beyond the mind. That is the ultimate energy of pure consciousness, beyond all mental process. It is the light of universal consciousness, which is shunya. Shunya normally means nothing, but it means there's no objectivity, because all that was objective outside has now become integrated into me, and I am that being where there's nothing outside me. I am the totality. Now, you see, this is the experience the sages have. By raising this level of consciousness right from this body mind, lifting it to different levels, and as it goes higher and higher and higher, the gross world merges into the mental world merges into the the causal world merges into the great cause, and everything is resolved into that infinite ocean of consciousness. The I sense also merges into that, and we become one with that reality and experience ourselves as we really are, essentially as the as a spiritual being, as the Atman in consciousness. That state is called nirvana, that's called self-realization, God realization, mukti, freedom beyond all bondage, liberation. That's the destiny of every being. Every living being can only find rest and peace in that level. We have moved from there and descended down. So you can imagine the cosmic consciousness, out of his own playful will, decides to make itself limited. And so it says, let me put a little body covering on side, and that is the covering of intelligence, and I sense appears in it. That becomes a little bit more grossified. It puts on a mental body, thoughts and ideas and all those concepts begin to come. It puts on a gross body, and suddenly you have the body that is made out of these five elements, and now you are trapped inside it, and this consciousness that's trapped inside is trying to experience the things outside. So it, over time, in evolution, develops this specialized organs called organs of knowledge. The eyes that will pick up some sound, we will see colors and forms. The ears will pick up some sound, and likewise we have the tongue and the nose and the skin. And with this, we are just trapped in this body and experiencing these things. And we think that happiness is out there, knowledge is out there, peace is out there. Really, I am that being. So this is the play of the divine. And when we find that after many, many lifetimes, we have not been able to achieve that reality because we are seeking for ourselves, but we're seeking outside sort of way. Now we turn around and say, what is the method by which we go inwards? Then we explore the inner space of man, in which you don't have all these powerful technologies, particle colliders and instruments and all that. The mind itself has to be made the instrument, the powerful telescope or microscope, with the help of which we zoom deep inside. As we go, if you look at something through a hand lens, you have got a particular power of magnification. You put the same thing through a microscope of 10 times of magnification, suddenly it reveals itself to you in more clarity. It's not that knowledge was not there, but the eyes didn't have that capacity to see things with that clarity. So you put some instrument like a microscope, and suddenly the knowledge that was there reveals itself. Then you say, let me take to 100 times magnification. Suddenly it reveals itself to you even more. And as you keep on going with greater and greater magnification, it keeps on revealing itself. So the truth or the reality is there itself. We don't have to create it. What we have to do is to develop that internal technology, that purified mind. And that mind itself then reveals successive layers of the truth. So it's a great scientific experiment, so to say. But we are experimenting with the truth within ourselves, and the mind itself is the great instrument. How do we develop that capacity so that we can zoom in this microscope from this lower level magnification to that electron microscope, so to say? Yoga, or path of meditation, is the technique by which we develop that deeper or higher levels of magnification, so to say. Okay, and so when you are in the last, column, when we are talking about degree of subtleties, you can think of that as the power of magnification. We go from Ma, as you go to the successive layers, you'll find that particular mental level will reveal the world to you in a different way. Ultimately, everything merges into consciousness. So spiritual life is not just believing in some books or some tradition, belonging to some church or temple or all those things. These are all special supports that we can take depending on the spiritual tradition that we are born and all that. But we are all human beings, irrespective of what culture, religion, faith we have been born in. The truth that we are seeking is not out there. That is inside us. We are the truth, so to say. But how do we discover that? By removing the layers of coverings there. The ice must melt into water. The water must merge into water vapor. The water vapor has to resolve itself into the ultimate course from which we have come. So there's a work to be done. And the process is this outward tendency of the mind that constantly goes out and engages with the external world, seeking for happiness, peace, and all those things. We have to put a restraint on that. Check them. It's not out there. The basic minimum that we need to engage with the world for our food, clothing, and shelter, that we'll do. But the real expedition, the journey, is diving deep inside. And meditation is that process where morning and evening, and as much as you can during the day, you try to be aware of our spiritual identity and be aware of that spiritual goal, that the purpose of this repeatedly coming to this world is to experience that spiritual reality, spiritual truth, and dedicate some time and effort for that spiritual illumination and awakening, and having the faith that this is your own self. You have just forgotten it, but it cannot be taken away from you. It's not that somebody will give it to you. It's our own essence. A very powerful teaching. We are that supreme being. We've just forgotten about it. We're just asleep to it. Let me wake up. And that's why the sages say, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Uttisthata, jagrata, prapyavaran nibodhata. The truth is within you. Seek it there. Focus your whole mind into it, and you will have the taste of the cake by eating it. You will feel that awakening, but you have to bring about that transformation. Meditation is the technique by which we dive deep into ourselves and try to resonate with that spiritual energy that is symbolized or revealed to us with the help of the mantra by the spiritual teacher. They give us a chain, and we say, take a link one by one, dive into the ocean, in the river, and you'll find that the chain is tied to something wonderful. Our supreme higher self is there. That's how the teachers say the japa, repetition of the mantra, happens. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Patanjali said, Tasya Vachaka Varana, Pranava. The name of the supreme being is Pranava. Pranava means Om. Tat japa tadartha bhavanam. Repeat that mantra Om with great concentration and rhythm, so that it resonates with your whole body, and understand the meaning. What's that? What does that energy symbolize? Which we have been trying to explain here. Have that concept that it's not simply some casual sound. Within it contains the totality of the whole universe and the secret of what we really are, our spirituals. That is constantly going inside us. We are not hearing that because the dull senses have become very dull. That subtlety is not there. What we will do is we'll shut off the external world, cut off the external clutter that's going all there, focus on that Om, and feel its awakening, rising from the navel upwards, through the heart, through the mouth, and ascending there. Here we are trying to visualize in this visual way, but another way of visualizing is that Uma is representing of the gross world. The gross, like solid ice. The ice merges into the subtle world, into the mental world. Ice merges into the water. It has become transformed into its own course, because the ice came out of the water, and now it's going to go back to its original course. What did the water come out? It came out of the water vapor. That's so fine that I can't even see it. So it has got a higher degree of subtlety, greater degree of freedom. It fills a whole space, while the ice is confined to a particular shape. Water is confined to a little bowl, but the water vapor is now filling the whole space. A greater degree of freedom comes in there. So you have to visualize that this body is there, pure and perfect. Then it merges into that mind. It's full of noble, sublime ideas. The mind merges into a pure form of intelligence. That intelligence merges into an ocean of cosmic consciousness, wild, beautiful, pure. Then we create another body out of that, because that's how it was created. But this time, the causal body is just pure intelligence. The mind is a pure mind. The body is absolutely pure body. And in that body, which is closer to your truth, you visualize this beautiful lotus in which there is this light of consciousness radiating out is luminous, and the sound that's radiating out of it that you hear is that Om sound. Now you focus your whole mind onto that light, which is the consciousness, and the sound that is expanding out of it. As you repeat that sound becomes, and you can feel it pulsating through every cell of your body, every corner of your mind, energizing you, filling you, harmonizing you at all levels. And you try to soak in that energy, bathe yourself in that, heal yourself in that. And the more you do that through meditation and during the day, you will feel a different degree of integration and connection in that energy flowing through that. Now, these are not theories. These are things that you have to experiment and verify for yourself, that yes, suddenly I feel so different about myself, so full of energy, vitality, peace, serenity. And you understand well, there is some power in it, and I'm going to not just simply settle down for some physical comforts and all that. I'm going to take this to another level, to next level, as this Om is you dive deep into it until this is able to reveal to me my spiritual essence or nature, where I am a pure consciousness united with the whole universe, or the whole universe is really a small speck in the totality that I am. Okay, so let us meditate on this. Let us sit upright, keeping your back, neck, and head in a relaxed upright position. Visualize your body to be strong and healthy and pure. Now focus on your breath. Inhale slowly and deeply. As you inhale, repeat the mantra Om. Tune yourself into that rhythm. Visualize that you say, you inhale, you breathe in a pure light that fills your whole body, every cell of the body, every corner of the mind is illumined. You may do this quite a few times until you get a degree of inner peace and balance. Next, let us pray for the welfare of all beings. May the divine consciousness, which is of the essence of infinite knowledge, bliss and peace, freedom, purity and beauty, and all excellences, which is the cause of the whole universe and all living beings, which is manifest in the heart of all beings, may that divine presence attract our minds from the external world to that supreme essence within us. May all be happy and peaceful and joyful. May all seek the divine within themselves. Send out your prayers to your right. See your thoughts going out forever, uplifting and helping everyone. Send it to your left, in front, behind, above, below, in all directions. Now focus on your own body. Visualize that the physical body is pure and strong, and it merges itself in the mental body of thoughts and ideas, that dissolves and merges itself in the causal body, the body of pure intelligence. And that merges into itself into that ocean of infinite consciousness, limitless, boundless, effulgent. Then visualize that out of that ocean of consciousness, you form a causal body that is absolutely pure intelligence, that takes upon itself another body, the mental body, which is absolutely pure mind, and you have created your physical body full of purity and strength. This is your divine self. In the center of your heart, visualize a lotus fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance. In the center of the lotus, visualize a flame, steady like a lamp kept in a windless place, spreading its effulgence in all directions. Imagine that light to be the light of knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's a light of purity that fills you with holiness. It's a light of bliss that fills you with joy. It's a light of supreme peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility. That is our true self, and its name is Om, the Supreme Being. Focus your whole mind on that central light of consciousness within you. Visualize its effulgence as a living presence full of compassion, love, and affection, ever eager to bestow the divine grace on you. Repeat the mantra Om, and with each repetition, feel that light becoming brighter and brighter, healing, soothing, and illuminating your whole being. Your mind wanders away anywhere, stop and bring it back to the divine within you. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Normally, after your meditation, you offer the results of your meditation to the Divine Being itself. Hari Om Tat Sat, using that particular mantra. So in this way, morning and evening, try to meditate and experience the power of the Om and discover for yourself what its impact on your physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. Today at 9 o'clock, Brisbane time, we'll have another talk on the subject of developing a visual integrated matrix of what spiritual life is all about. Where we are, where we are trying to go, what are the steps, so that when the scriptures teach any particular concept, we can place them at the right level and say, this is relevant at this level. And then in an integrated way, it helps you make a sense. Normally, we do this with the help of concepts and ideas, but imagination, visualization is more powerful than conceptual thinking. So we'll try to develop a visual model which is easier to capture in your mind than a lot of ideas integrated in an abstract way, and how that conceptualization, visualization of the spiritual matrix can give a lot of clarity, so that we don't worry too much about the meaning of things, but start implementing or practicing the sadhana part of it. Until then, keep safe and happy, and we'll meet next Sunday. Thank you.